Existence, it has parts, and it stands just like the human being stands, and that part I didn't understand either. But in the essence, there is no such presence of parts, and this is to explain to us how powers in the state of Chitas combine. I didn't understand how it explained it to me that much. And you said it was a key to understanding it.
A table, does it have a size?
Yes.
In terms of you putting the book on the table, is that bound to the size? That's just because there's something to support it, and yet it has a size. So that means that it combines two things, a presence and non-presence.
Presence and non-presence?
A limit.
Oh. Oh.
The non-presence is just that it should rest somewhere, that the book, the Sefer, should rest somewhere?
No, the table itself gives you a positive presence to allow you to put the Sefer down.
Yes.
And it has to end at some point.
Okay.
That's not part of its positive part.
Okay. Rabbi, can I give an example from artwork?
No.
Okay. All right.
We're trying to branch out as much as possible.
Sure.
Really, this is not what's called a philosophy course. But certain things we want to understand because they are Hasidus. They are principles of Hasidus. So this Indian, that there is such thing, that's important to understand. The reason that's important to understand is that this points out clearly, as sharply as possible, the fact that there is a creator. That things don't exist on their own. And the creator, so to speak, conceives things the way he conceives. This should be, and then each thing has an essential presence. Like we say, the Rebbe said, let there be light. He wanted light, he didn't want a fire that gives off light. He wanted light, so there is light. By Iyar. Which points out a very important principle, that what is the basis of all existence? His presence, His want. Not the fact that it is so structured that it has a place in our world.
Say that again. the creation has a mark, as the mark of God's presence, independent of its structure?
Should be the put about spin about favors.
Please record your name followed by the pound key.
I'm a Paltiel.
Thank you. You are participant number 2.
I'm sorry. We got involved. Okay. So this is a pshat that there's an etzem. The etzem inyan, the way it is, pshat boire. And that is definitively that inyan, fire and not water. And it doesn't need water in order to be. That we discussed yesterday, that the way we perceive things in the world, in order for things to be, they have to be all-encompassing. That gives it a present, a reality. Not when it comes to that. At that level, it is the world does not have to explain how it is there. It is there because it's there. But Hashem wants it there. Just like Hashem is a Motzui Rishen, a first being, and He's there. That presence is, there's no explanation with that presence, because that's a presence based on its truth itself. As a matter of fact, we say it does not have a presence. It's an essential presence. So too, everything that He wants has an essential presence. Therefore, what enables to that two essential opposites should combine. And that is because a higher Iyar is revealed upon them. What does the higher Iyar mean? The higher Iyar is that is superior from Iker Mokir is Habusam. Superior from the source, from the very source of their existence, of their coming into being. And there is a muscle here. We'll go into the muscle, and there we'll try to identify various aspects. Okay, with 2 lines from the bottom. This is essentially, we already said it yesterday, but we didn't really get into it. 2 lines from the bottom on page Yud Zayin. As for example, the Beis Sorim, 2 ministers, Shem Hafok, Imam Nagdim Zelos Rebetachlis, which who are opposites of Menagdim, they oppose each one to the other. Menagdim, they actually oppose one another. Betachlis, to the extreme. V'kol echod v'yechod, each one of them, hu yesh godel b'fnei atzmi, is independently a great entity, a great presence. Yesh godel, a great presence. He has that great position, and he's a yesh godel. He doesn't let go of anything that pertains to his presence and to his office. But then, when they should come in the presence of the king, who is Muvdal, isolated, separated, and elevated. Be'erech means in proximity. It's not he is above, within the same realm. Being above there means that he is above without measure. It's not in a different. You can't use the same measuring stick as between the two ministers and between the ministers and the king. Lagamri, nivdo lagamri, totally separate, totally remote. Yizbatlu mikol mitziyusum lagamri, then they will lose their whole mitzvahs altogether. To the extent the yisardu lagamri, we'll discuss this. This will go into it to really get a feel for it. The yisardu lagamri, and they will unite totally, ki'ilu heim dover echad mamash, as if they were one thing in reality. Loi rag b'derech pshara v'tivuch, not just in a pshara, in a compromising manner. The word pshara, I said pshara comes from the word poishrim. Now it's cold and hot, not extremely cold, not extremely hot. A lukewarm water is called poishrim. Pshara means lukewarm. Not, they don't express themselves fully, and that's v'tivuch, and they compromise. Shemishtarim zeh, they come to an agreement between themselves. They have to come to an agreement. Shtamim means the equal. They kind of come to an agreement. That's not the method that is employed there. That is not what happens. Kiyim rag, kiyim rather kiyilu heim b'deyo achas mamish, as if they were really in one opinion. That's how united they become in the presence of this superior quality of the presence of the king. So let us understand this. This we can get into it because we have many principles regarding a king that Chassidus explains. Thank you. We'll mention two principles regarding a king. One simple one, Ein melech b'lo yam. There is no king without a nation. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, you say that the king is remote from the nation. Meroimon. And the whole meaning of Malchus is Hisroimamus, his supremacy, not being involved with the people, not being dependent on the people. So I said, Ein melech b'lo yam. To understand it, we will contrast the melech to a ruler, a dictator, a power grabber. A dictator, really, his whole power, his whole position is based on dictatorship and power. He grabbed the force of power. He got together a gang of powerful men, and he forced everybody to stay out. Prior, thinking his existence as a ruler is at the factual level only. The fact that he is ruling makes him into a ruler. He doesn't have an essential element of rulership, of supremacy. A melech, we say, "Ein melech b'lo yam." So he's also dependent, he would sound, on the people, but it's not so. The thing that Ein melech b'lo yam means that there is no gilui hamalchus b'lo yam. There is no expression of malchus. But the meaning of a melech is an essential reality in the melech. He is essentially superior and supreme of the people. The reason that the people, and they came by a king, he is a melech, not by virtue of grabbing power, but because the people appointed him to be melech. Malchus berotze. And why did the people appoint him to be melech? Because of his supremacy.
I thought a king ruled by the will of God, not the people.
Because of his supremacy. This is why the people have appointed him, accepted him to be melech. So now we have two things. We have the essential supremacy of the melech and the factual supremacy of the melech. When he is actually a king. Now, when he is actually a king, even though there are people, Ein melech b'lo yam, let me step back a moment just in this last sentence. Why is it that Ein melech b'lo yam? If in fact he is a supreme person, why do we say Ein melech b'lo yam? What is the meaning of that word, of that term? Clean it. The word melech means a ruler. The melech, in terms, from the perspective of his essential supremacy, he is so remote that being factually a melech does not do anything for him. Does not complement him. He's in a different realm. In a different reality. When does he become melech in terms of a ruler? Taki, when there is a now. On his own, he's not a melech. He's not melech. He doesn't have that that sense of being a ruler, who cares? Therefore, when he is a melech, it is, so to speak, dependent on the yam, but it's dependent on the yam that the melech should be what he is, but that his malchus should be. But his malchus should be a factual malchus. It's because of the yam. So malchus has two distinct principles. On the one hand, it is essential supremacy. The principle of supremacy is that his personal interest, his reality, is rising upwards. Does not have any dependencies whatsoever. Like we're saying, the human being, by nature, the human being is a melech by nature. What is he stands on 2 feet. He's not interested in being supported. He holds himself up. The whole Indian that the human being is touching the ground is in order to affect the world. In order to affect the world, he has to be grounded. So he's just grounded, but not for personal support. It is to bestow his presence upon the whole world. That's what it is. So the Melech has these two qualities. On the one hand, this is he's a Melech on the Yam. On the other hand, he is this Meroimim. The essential meaning for the Melech is his Roimimus. And as we said before, the reason that the Am submit themselves to him is because of his Roimimus. Now, let's further understand the Peil Mamish, he's a Melech, and he rules the nation. And in order to rule the nation, he has to get involved and bestow justice and run and find the justice in everything. And the justice is within the national involvement. Between one and another. So, what's the difference? Whether he is ruling, whether he is a superior or not superior, he has to get down there and find what is just. Who does this article belong to? Do I have you with me? The principle in that is that the judgment level of the Melech, as we pointed out many times, the union of Torah, is from a different perspective altogether. It is not from the perspective of one person's presence versus another person's presence. Rather, it is from the perspective of what is the reality behind their presence. Because that is what the Melech gives. The Melech provides a reality behind their presence. This is why they chose him as a Melech, because he has a supreme perspective of their reality. And he provides this different level of reality for their nation. What kind of reality does he provide for their nation? A reality that warrants them to go a Mesiras Nefesh in order to secure that reality.
Say wants or warrants?
Huh?
Say wants or warrants?
It warrants, it justifies. So it's a completely remote type of presence. So when he is judging between two people, but from a different perspective completely. This is the Yam. So there is both a Melech B'lo Yam, but then there is also the Yam Malchus. So in this Yam Malchus, there are two distinct levels. There is the level where he can associate to the Am and bring this Malchus to affect the Am. That occurs when the Am is present. B'loyam, without Am, he's not a Melech. So he's not a Melech. He's not. He is a Beroimus to an extreme. He doesn't have any relationship to the Am at all. He's not in a state to bestow his greatness upon the people, because he's in a total remote arena. A Melech has ministers. One of the ministers, they are the experts who run the various branches of government. Why are the branches of government? Because there's a national presence. Sorry. There's a national presence. And the nation there has to be an internal development of agriculture, there's an internal development of commerce, and all kinds of different aspects that need to be developed within a nation. In addition to war and protecting against enemies and so forth. All that occurs when the Melech is a Melech on the Am. So even though he's a Melech on the Am because of his supremacy, but this is the supremacy as it's being translated on the Melech level. On how he's going to bestow and affect his nation. But the reason that he is a Melech is not because he knows how to run a country, but because of his absolute supremacy. But there is no Am, and therefore there is no ministers. There is a truth in a pure level. A minister, do you follow this? I just want to point out certain sharp points. A minister, Rebbe said before, that each one is a Yesh Godol. Each one is a big presence. Because in order to run his office, he has to be a big presence. He has to make decisions on his own. Because the Melech had empowered him to run this office. And on that basis, he's running the office. He has to be a Yesh Gadol. Why does he have to be a Yesh Gadol to run the office? Because he's running an office in a Yesh environment. He's not running the office in an absolute environment. It involves many people. And he has to rule the people and give out orders. The fact that he knows that it's right, it's not going to happen. It's not even going to happen because he wants it, like a melech. He's a minister. He has to stand there and give out orders. And he's totally involved in securing, in fulfilling the mission of his office. When they come in the presence of the Melech, in the presence of the Melech himself, when he is outside of the palace, then they have the Melech as a Melech of the people. Melech and an Am. In the presence of the Melech himself, there is no Am. There is just the Melech. The way the Melech is, in his own remoteness, in his own reality. At that moment, you don't stand in front of the Melech, oh, he is my Melech because I accepted him to be Melech. You follow what I'm saying? Not because I accepted him to be Melech, I'm accepting him Melech right now. Because of his remoteness. In his presence, he is not a Melech yet. I'm making him a Melech every moment. Why? What is his presence present? His personal greatness. Not the fact that he is a Melech and I accepted him as a Melech. That's outside. Like we have the motion of the host and the guest. There's all kinds of different things. But then there is a presence of the host himself. That's completely independent of everything else. That's the reality itself. Why am I here? For the lunch? For the comfort? You understand? Just the Melech, in the presence of the Melech, there is no Malchus. There is no Melucha. There's just the Melech. And the Melech in his remote state. At that moment, you are accepting him to be Melech every second afresh.
No Melucha, just the Melech.
Just the Melech.
It's to say, like him directly, like no.
Indirectly,
no
in his
position.
remote state. And now we have to. It's a little late.
Even though the Melech is going to talk to him about whatever he's going to talk to him about.
Yeah, that's. So then he is going to come down to talk to them. But why are they there? Because he's a Melech. Because of his remoteness. That's why when you refer to a milas of it in an honor, in an honorable mention in front of the Melech, it's called Meridah Malchus, because there's no ministers in front of the Melech. I'm sorry, I have to interrupt in the middle. We almost finished, but time is cutting us short. So have a good day. go to.